You know, sometimes the biggest changes in the world, they don't start with some huge flashy announcement. Nope. They start with a single line, buried deep inside a report that most people will never read. Today, we're unpacking one of those moments, a quiet little mention of Ripple's XRP Ledger by the BRICS nations that could, and I mean could, be signaling a massive shift in how money moves around the globe. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so first up, let's talk about the recognition itself. How did this whole thing even come to light? And what was actually said that's got everyone so fired up?
Well, like a lot of big news these days, it all kicked off on social media. It turns out, a crypto researcher who goes by SMQXY found something, well, pretty huge. The XRP Ledger was named, right there in black and white, in an economic report from BRICS. And the crypto community? They knew right away this wasn't just another mention. This was a big, flashing signpost for blockchain's role in global trade.
And look, to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand who's saying it. This isn't some random research paper. This is coming from BRICS. We're talking Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, plus all their new members. This group represents a massive chunk of the world's population and economy. So for them to single out a specific blockchain technology, yeah, that's something you pay attention to.
So let's just break it down real simple. The who, that was crypto researcher SMQXY. The what, the XRP Ledger getting named in this report. The where, it was in a section all about using blockchain for trade and finance. And the most important part, the why, they were specifically looking at its potential for cross-border settlement systems. This wasn't a random shout-out, it was super specific.
Okay, so that naturally leads to the big question, right? Why is an economic powerhouse like BRICS even looking at technologies like the XRP Ledger to begin with? To get that, we need to look at their bigger goals. This is about way more than just faster payments.
It really all boils down to one key concept: de-dollarization. Now, if you've been following this space, you've heard this term a lot. For years, BRICS has been very clear about its main goal. They want to be less dependent on the US dollar for trade. They're trying to build a new financial highway where they're in the driver's seat, trading in their own currencies.
So you've got this clear divide. On one side, you have the system we've all been using for decades, SWIFT. It's centralized, it runs on the dollar, and it's been around since the 70s. And then on the other side, you have the vision for something like BRICS Pay, something decentralized that uses local currencies and is built for the 21st century. They're actively looking for the tech that can make that vision a reality.
And make no mistake, this didn't just happen overnight. This strategy has been building for years. Way back in 2019, the BRICS Business Council put together a special team just to look into using crypto for trade. The report we're talking about today, it's a direct result of that team's work, and it's pointing straight towards a future where systems like BRICS Pay are a real thing.
All right, let's zoom in a little. Of all the different blockchain technologies out there, why the XRP Ledger? What was it specifically that caught their eye in that report?
So it really boils down to this one feature they pointed out: a system of virtual escrow accounts. Sounds kind of technical, I know, but trust me, the idea behind it is actually super simple and honestly a potential game changer for international trade. Okay, so imagine this. Step 1. A buyer's funds get locked up on the ledger, held safely in this virtual escrow. Then, step 2. The system just waits. It automatically checks to see if the terms of the deal are met, like, say, a shipping container has arrived. Once it gets the green light, bam, step 3, the money is released to the seller, instantly. No middlemen, no waiting 3 days for a wire to clear. You can see why that's so appealing, right? Now, what's really smart here is that BRICS isn't just betting on one horse. The report shows they're looking at 2 different paths. Path 1 is using existing, battle-tested public blockchains, like the XRP Ledger. Path 2 is exploring the idea of building their own private in-house system. They're keeping their options open, which is a very strategic move.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. Why is one little mention in a report making such big waves? What does this actually mean for Ripple and for XRP?
Let me just throw one number at you to put this all into perspective. 40%. The BRICS nations, they represent about 40% of the world's entire population. Their economic influence is only getting bigger. So when a group of that size even hints at using your technology for their new financial plumbing, the potential scale is just hard to wrap your head around.
When you boil it all down, this is all about one thing: validation. Massive, global-scale validation. This looks like the very first time a major economic bloc has officially recognized the XRP Ledger for this kind of purpose.
It takes the tech out of the crypto world and puts it squarely on the map for the biggest players in global finance. It's a huge leap.
And you've got to see how this fits into the bigger picture, because it's not happening in isolation. You have this incredible BRICS recognition, which is a huge vote of confidence. At the same time, Ripple is launching its own stablecoin, RLUSD, which is the perfect kind of tool for this stuff. Throw in all the chatter about a potential XRP ETF and the fact that regulatory clarity is getting better, and you start to see all the pieces falling into place.
All right, let's pull the lens all the way back out. What does this all mean for the future of money itself, the really big picture?
You know, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that sometimes the biggest revolutions start with a whisper, not a shout. That one line in one report, it could be the first tiny crack in the foundation of the old financial system. It signals that the shift away from a centralized, dollar-focused world to something new and decentralized isn't just a theory anymore. It's happening.
So that leaves us with this massive question, doesn't it? This recognition from BRICS, coupled with the incredible technology that's now available, it's not just about finding a faster way to send money, it's about building entirely new rails for the global economy to run on. So, are we literally watching the blueprint for a new financial system being drawn up right in front of us? Something to think about, for sure.